Why is it that some women are cherished, respected, and treated like royalty, while others feel disposable, like mere options? The answer is not random, nor is it simple. It's rooted in values, self-perception, and boundaries. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why this happens, but also how to shift the dynamic. How men treat women often reflects two things: how a woman values herself and the energy she brings into the relationship. This is not about blaming anyone, but understanding patterns. Today, we're diving into the psychology of respect, attraction, and choice, uncovering the truth behind why some women are treated as queens while others are sidelined as options. Self-worth is the foundation of how people treat you. And this principle is especially significant in relationships. Men tend to mirror the level of respect a woman commands for herself. If you carry yourself with dignity, confidence, and a sense of purpose, it creates a powerful impression that influences how others perceive and interact with you. On the other hand, if you allow others to take advantage of you, dismiss your needs, or undervalue your presence, that sets the tone for how they'll treat you moving forward. The truth is, self-worth is an internal mindset that radiates outward. It's not just about what you say or do, it's about what you believe. If you genuinely believe you are deserving of love, respect, and commitment, you'll subconsciously align your actions and choices with those beliefs. For instance, you won't settle for relationships where you are undervalued or ignored. You'll walk away from situations that don't align with your standards because you know you deserve better. This isn't arrogance. It's self-respect. Many people confuse the two. Arrogance seeks validation from others to mask insecurity, while self-respect is rooted in knowing your value regardless of external opinions. When a man encounters a woman with strong self-worth, he's less likely to treat her as an option. Why? Because her energy signals that she won't tolerate anything less than mutual respect and effort. Let's break this down further. A woman with high self-worth doesn't seek approval or chase attention. She doesn't need to constantly prove her value to anyone because she already knows it. This independence creates an aura of strength and stability that men find deeply attractive. It also filters out those who aren't willing to step up and treat her with the respect. Contrast this with a woman who struggles with self-worth. She may tolerate poor behavior, cling to unhealthy relationships, or overextend herself, trying to earn love and validation. This dynamic often leads to her being taken for granted or treated as an option, not because she lacks value, but because her actions unintentionally signal that she'll accept less than she deserves. Here's the crucial takeaway: self-worth is not something you wait for others to give you. It's something you cultivate within yourself. This can involve setting boundaries, focusing on personal growth, and practicing self-care. The way you speak to yourself matters too. Negative self-talk erodes self-worth, while affirming your strengths and acknowledging your worth builds it. When you prioritize your self-worth, you send a clear message to the world. I know my value, and I won't settle for less. Men who are genuinely looking for a meaningful relationship recognize and respect this. They'll treat you as a priority because they understand you won't accept being treated as anything less. Remember, the way you see yourself sets the tone for how others see you. If you want to be treated like a queen, start by believing you are one. It's not about perfection. It's about embracing your worth and carrying it with confidence. Boundaries are one of the most powerful tools for establishing respect in any relationship. They are not walls meant to shut others out. Rather, they are essential guidelines that communicate your expectations and limits, allowing others to understand how to treat you in relationships. Whether romantic, platonic, or professional, boundaries are a reflection of self-respect and self-awareness. Without clear boundaries, there's often confusion and respect becomes diluted. When a woman sets boundaries, she essentially defines how she expects to be treated and ensures that her values and needs are prioritized. A queen knows her worth and knows what she will and will not accept. She understands that respect is a two-way street and will not tolerate being treated poorly or being taken for granted. Boundaries are not just about rejecting unacceptable behavior. They are about creating space for growth, trust, and healthy dynamics. When you establish clear boundaries, you communicate that your needs, desires, and values are just as important as anyone else's. You demonstrate that you won't compromise your self-respect for the sake of keeping someone. The truth is, people tend to take advantage of situations where boundaries are unclear or non-existent. In relationships, this can manifest as a partner who constantly takes without giving, who pushes past your limits, or who expects you to compromise your values for their convenience. When boundaries aren't clearly communicated, people may not even realize they're crossing them. But over time, resentment builds and the relationship becomes one-sided. This is where being treated like an option becomes a real risk. Let's say you're in a relationship with someone who consistently disrespects your time, makes promises they don't keep, or dismisses your emotional needs. If you don't set boundaries and speak up about what you will tolerate, the behavior will likely continue. However, when you establish clear boundaries, you effectively draw a line in the sand. You say, this is who I am, and these are my standards. If you cannot meet them, I will not stay in this relationship. Men who respect you will appreciate these boundaries because they show maturity and understanding. They know that when you set a limit, it's not out of malice. It's out of self-respect and a desire for a balanced, healthy relationship. When a man sees that you can set boundaries with grace and conviction, he knows you are someone who respects yourself and your time. He is less likely to treat you like an option because you won't tolerate that behavior. On the flip side, a woman who doesn't set boundaries often ends up feeling emotionally drained and undervalued. She may let things slide for the sake of avoiding conflict or keeping the peace, but in doing so, she teaches others that they can take advantage of her without consequence. This may result in feeling like an option where she is not seen as a priority. Setting boundaries also teaches others how to communicate with you in a healthy way. When a woman sets boundaries, she is not just protecting herself, but creating a framework for a relationship that is based on mutual respect. This includes verbal boundaries, such as saying no when you're uncomfortable, but also nonverbal ones, such as choosing not to engage in toxic behavior or unhealthy dynamics. A queen doesn't allow herself to be mistreated because she understands that her energy is precious. She doesn't chase after validation or approval. Instead, she communicates her values and expects them to be honored. Men who are serious about building a meaningful relationship will recognize this, and they'll appreciate the clarity and strength that come with a woman who is clear about her boundaries. In the end, clear boundaries create clear roles. They establish a healthy framework in which both partners can thrive. They create the space for mutual respect, love, and trust. Without boundaries, relationships can become muddled. So remember, boundaries aren't walls. They are the foundation of a healthy, respectful relationship. When you know your worth and communicate your limits, you make it clear that you won't settle for being treated like an option. You'll be treated like the queen you are. Neediness is a subtle but powerful force that can drastically affect how a man perceives and treats a woman. It's not about being emotionally available or needing help from others at times. Those are natural and human traits. Neediness, however, refers to a deep sense of dependency on another person for emotional validation, approval, and worth. When this dependency becomes excessive, it undermines a woman's perceived strength and independence and can lead to her being treated as an option rather than a priority. Men are naturally drawn to strength because it aligns with their own instincts for partnership and growth. Strength in a woman is not just physical. It's emotional, mental, and spiritual. It's the confidence to stand on your own, pursue your passions, and make decisions that reflect your own values and principles. A strong woman isn't someone who seeks validation from others. She knows who she is and operates from a place of self-assurance. When a woman exudes strength, she doesn't chase after attention or try to secure someone's affection through constant reassurance. She is content in her own life, and as a result, her energy is magnetic. People, men included, are naturally attracted to someone who carries themselves with a sense of purpose and stability. This type of woman doesn't settle for less than what she deserves because she knows her worth. Her strength doesn't just stem from her independence. It comes from her understanding that she is complete on her own. She seeks a relationship not out of need, but out of desire for a meaningful connection. On the other hand, neediness tends to undermine respect because it sends a message of desperation. It communicates that your emotional well-being is tied to the approval of someone else. Men may initially be drawn to someone who seems to need their attention, but this often fades over time. The initial attraction might be based on the idea that the woman is available, but once the neediness becomes clear, the dynamic shifts. Men begin to feel more like caretakers or sources of validation rather than equal partners. Over time, this shift can lead to frustration, disillusionment, or even a loss of interest. The key to building respect in relationship is emotional independence. When you can stand on your own 2 feet, when you are emotionally self-sufficient and don't rely on external validation to feel good about yourself, you naturally command respect. It's important to remember that true strength comes from knowing that you can navigate life on your own, but you choose to share it with someone because you want to, not because you need to. Furthermore, strength in a woman doesn't mean suppressing emotions or rejecting support. It means having the maturity and wisdom to know when to seek help and when to handle things on your own. Men respect women who can hold their own in a relationship and contribute equally to the partnership. This kind of strength creates a balanced dynamic where both partners lift each other up, rather than one relying solely on the other for fulfillment. In relationship, men often seek partners who inspire them, who challenge them to grow and evolve. A needy woman, by contrast, may unintentionally create an atmosphere of stagnation where the man feels pressured to provide emotional support at the expense of his own growth. Strong women, however, encourage their partners to be their best selves, which ultimately strengthens the relationship as a whole. To be respected, a woman must first respect herself. When you respect your own worth and refuse to chase after validation, you naturally become someone who is valued, not out of obligation, but out of admiration. Men don't respect neediness. They respect strength, independence, and self-assurance. By cultivating these qualities, you will not only be treated with the respect you deserve, but will also attract a partner who appreciates you for who you truly are, not for who you are trying to be to gain their approval. One of the most profound differences between being treated like a queen and being treated like an option is the ability to inspire. A queen does not demand attention or approval. She commands it through her actions, her values, and the energy she projects. She inspires those around her to rise to a higher standard, to be better versions of themselves. In relationships, this type of woman doesn't chase after validation or constantly seek reassurance. Instead, her presence creates an environment where both she and her partner grow together. Inspiration comes from being authentic and true to one's values. A queen has a clear sense of purpose and is driven by her own vision of life. She doesn't simply comply with the expectations of others or play by someone else's rules. She sets her own path and attracts people who resonate with her vision. She inspires not through words alone, but through the way she lives, by being grounded in her convictions, driven by passion, and motivated by a sense of inner peace. When a woman carries herself in this way, she sets the tone for the kind of relationship she desires. Men who are serious about building a future with someone will gravitate toward her because they see a partner who challenges them to become better. She doesn't settle for mediocrity, and either does she allow anyone else to either. This inspiration creates a mutual respect where both partners strive to support and uplift one another. In contrast, an option is someone who simply complies with the expectations of others. She may go along with what's convenient or comfortable, compromising her values and desires to keep the peace or maintain a relationship. While this might seem like a way to avoid conflict, it ultimately undermines the depth and authenticity of the connection. Men may initially appreciate the compliance because it feels easy, but over time, they realize that it lacks substance. There's no challenge, no growth, no inspiration. The relationship becomes stagnant, and the woman becomes one of many options rather than a priority. A queen inspires because she is a reflection of her own strength, beliefs, and desires. She creates relationships where both partners grow, thrive, and elevate one another. When you live with purpose, when you act with integrity, you become an inspiration. And in return, you attract the respect and love you deserve. Emotional maturity is one of the cornerstones of any healthy, thriving relationship. It is the ability to manage one's emotions in a balanced, constructive way, particularly in times of stress, conflict, or disappointment. A woman who possesses emotional maturity does not react impulsively, nor does she allow her emotions to control her actions. Instead, she takes the time to reflect on her feelings, communicates them clearly, and handles difficult situations with grace and poise. This kind of maturity is deeply attractive and commands respect because it shows that a woman has developed a strong sense of self-control and emotional awareness. Emotional maturity isn't just about being calm or composed in the face of adversity. It's about understanding and owning your emotions. It's about knowing when to speak up and when to remain silent, when to assert your needs and when to come. It's about being able to listen to your partner's point of view with empathy and without immediately trying to fix everything. A woman who has emotional maturity doesn't take everything personally or make the relationship about her feelings alone. She sees the bigger picture and understands that true communication requires patience, active listening, and mutual understanding. When a woman displays emotional maturity, she fosters an environment of trust and security within the relationship. A man feels safe being vulnerable around her, knowing that his thoughts and feelings will be received with respect and care. Emotional maturity allows both partners to navigate conflict in a healthy way without resorting to blame, anger, or avoidance. It means addressing issues head-on, calmly and rationally, and working together to find a solution that honors both individuals' needs. On the flip side, emotional immaturity can erode respect. When someone reacts emotionally without considering the impact of their words or actions, it creates tension and confusion. This often leads to a cycle of miscommunication, resentment, distrust. In relationships where one or both partners struggle with emotional maturity, feelings are often magnified and situations spiral out of control. This can leave both parties feeling unheard, frustrated, and unfulfilled. Respect is built when both partners can engage with each other on an emotional level without letting impulsive reactions dictate the relationship dynamic. Emotional maturity allows individuals to express vulnerability without fear of judgment or manipulation. It also fosters the ability to apologize when necessary, to forgive, and to move forward without harboring resentment. A woman who is emotionally mature recognizes that relationships require effort, understanding, and adaptability, and she's willing to put in that work. When men witness emotional maturity in a woman, they're often in awe of her ability to maintain composure and perspective, especially in challenging situations. This quality builds deep admiration and respect because it shows that she is not easily swayed by external circumstances, and she is capable of creating stability and balance within the relationship. Emotional maturity becomes the foundation of trust, making the relationship a secure place for both partners to thrive. Ultimately, emotional maturity is a reflection of self-respect. When you are emotionally mature, you don't seek validation or approval from others to feel secure. You understand that your emotions are your responsibility, and you don't place the burden of managing them on anyone else. This level of self-awareness and accountability is what earns respect because it shows that you are capable of handling life's ups and downs with strength and wisdom. When a woman embodies emotional maturity, she not only builds respect, but also creates a space where love, trust, and mutual growth can flourish. One of the most crucial factors that determine how a man treats a woman is the clarity and depth of his intentions. Intentions are the driving force behind every action, every gesture, and every word. When a man is serious about a woman, when he sees her as someone worthy of his time, energy, and effort, his actions will reflect that. Conversely, when his intentions are unclear or shallow, his treatment of her will mirror. When a man views a woman as someone he wants to build a future with, someone he envisions sharing his life with, his actions will demonstrate that respect. He'll invest emotionally, he'll listen attentively, and he'll make sure that she feels valued and prioritized. He won't take her for granted, and he certainly won't treat her like an option. His intentions shape the way he shows up in the relationship, whether it's in the form of consistent communication, thoughtful gestures, or making time for her despite his busy life. He's clear about what he wants, and he treats her accordingly. However, when a man's intentions are not aligned with commitment, when he's simply looking for a short-term connection, validation, or convenience, his actions will be inconsistent, unclear, or even dismissive. He may enjoy the benefits of companionship without putting in the necessary effort to nurture the relationship. He may be hot and cold, or he may fail to follow through on plans or promises. The lack of clear intention often leaves a woman feeling confused, unappreciated, and ultimately like an option. Intentions shape a man's level of respect for a woman. If he respects her deeply, he will approach the relationship with sincerity and honor. He won't manipulate her, play games, or waste her time. He understands that a woman of value requires time, effort, and mutual growth, and he's ready to give that because he knows that the reward of building a strong, lasting connection is worth it. When a man treats a woman as a priority, it is a reflection of his intention to build something real and meaningful with her, to support her, and to work towards shared goals. The treatment of women is also directly tied to a man's own values and principles. A man who understands the importance of respect and honor will treat a woman as his equal, no matter the circumstances. He will not simply act out of desire or convenience. He will consider how his actions align with his deeper sense of what is right and worthy. His intention to treat a woman with the utmost respect will not fluctuate based on how he feels in the moment, but will remain consistent because his actions are driven by his core beliefs. On the other hand, when a man is uncertain about what he wants, or if he is simply enjoying the moment without thinking about the future, his treatment of a woman often becomes transactional. He may only show up when it's convenient or when he needs something, whether that's emotional validation, physical affection, or companionship. There's a lack of genuine investment because his intentions are not rooted in building something meaningful, but in fulfilling his own temporary needs. A woman who understands this dynamic will naturally gravitate towards men who have clear, positive intentions. She won't settle for someone who is unsure or someone who treats her as just an option. Women who respect themselves will make it clear what they expect from a partner and will not allow their worth to be diminished by men who have unclear or shallow intentions. Ultimately, how a man treats a woman reflects the depth of his intentions, and the woman's self-worth and standards determine whether those intentions are worthy of her time and energy. Women who understand the power of their own value will never settle for being treated as an option, because they know that the right man will show up with the right intentions, ready to treat them like a queen. You see, the difference between being treated like a queen or an option lies in self-perception, boundaries, and the energy you project. Elevate your standards, and the world will elevate its treatment of you. It's not about demanding respect. It's about embodying it. And when you do, you won't just be treated like a queen. you'll be one. If this message resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more empowering insights. Let's build a community of self-respect, growth, and unstoppable potential. See you in the next video.